Welcome to CLEA'S world. I am Clea, and today I will share with you more information I've received from 25th dimension. And before we move forward, I'd like to ask you to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. And please do give this video a thumbs up if you could, and leave me a comment below because I do read all of them. I do respond to all of them, and it makes me very happy to see where everybody's at to share. Because we're creating a community here where it's okay to discuss certain topics that are on our minds and that we're not allowed to truly openly discuss in a lot of different places these days, unfortunately. All right, so I'm going to start reading here from the transcript of my latest qhht hypnosis session. When I refer to Carolyn, I'm talking about the hypnotist asking me questions I've prepared in advance of the session. And when I refer to me, then I'm talking about myself under hypnosis, which means the answers are coming from the 25th. All right, Carolyn. Many say we speak of the Pleiadeans and the fact that they were very vested, that they are very vested in our destiny because they have a huge imprint on our DNA. Is this true? Me. They do have an imprint in our DNA, but we have other civilizations that have had an imprint in our DNA. Now, it's not like we are a product of every single civilization in the multiverse. So of course, some civilizations have had an imprint, whereas others haven't, or very minimal. So in this sense, yeah, the Pleiadians and a few other civilizations have had more of an imprint from a physical standpoint. Carolyn. So do these other civilizations, including the Pleiadians, care about us? Me. Care as in they don't want us to fail. It would feel like, in a way, they do think of us as being very similar to them. And so they don't want us to fail. And so they are on our side in that sense. And they have been helping, and they will be helping us, yes. Whereas other civilizations, they just don't care. Like, for example, we talk about other 3D planets, but they really care what happens there. That's what we mean by we don't care. We don't mean as in we just couldn't care less about them. It's just we're not focused on them. We're not trying to actively figure out how can we help them. That's what it means by caring. Like we're all focused here right now. Same way as Pleiadians and a few other civilizations. A lot of people right now want to be involved here. They want this to go well. In that sense, they care, they feel kin to us. Carolyn, many people talk about the Anunnaki, saying that they were giants who were considered to be gods, who genetically modified us to be slaves, and that they were in agreement with the reptilians. Is this true, and when did it happen? Me. The Anunnaki were one of the alien civilizations that came here. And yes, they were not on the side of the dark, as in you already explained that the dark team is the reptilians. So they were not on the side of the dark, as in they wanted to do dark things. They just didn't care. They were in the middle. They're in the middle. And so to them, doing something good is the same as doing something bad. It made no difference. And so in that sense, yeah, they did very much want to be. They saw us, these bodies, it's not really us. We were the aliens, and they were laughing. They saw these bodies as inferior to what they could do, which of course, all of us can do, when we're not in these bodies. Even within these bodies, we can do amazing things that we don't admit to ourselves. But so we saw, basically, we had contempt for these bodies. And so we're like, yeah, let's play with it, right? Now, we've already said it's not okay to have this attitude. And we don't mean not okay like you need to be judging it or you need to be thinking, oh, bad boy. What we mean to say is that we are grateful to these bodies. So that is just to say that that attitude very much was in the middle because it was really a sort of like, oh, these bodies don't matter. They're just tools. So we can mess with them. Now, have we messed with these bodies in the sense that have we changed these bodies? Yes, we have. But again, while we often have a very big sense of gratitude for these bodies, for holding us here, allowing us to have this experience, the Anunnaki didn't really care. They were just, again, it's all the same. They were just having their own experience, which is we have all these powers and we're going to do whatever we want. And that's exactly what they did. And that's why at some point we decided we're going to have strict rules here where people that have certain powers are not going to be allowed here anymore, because we just really wanted to have an independent experience to where you're like, okay, we're actually going to test these bodies out to see what happens, what we can do here with these rules. So it wasn't just because we didn't want to be reminded of the fact that all of us really have infinite powers. And of course, that's one of the main reasons why we have not wanted to know certain things. But it's also that we just wanted everybody we wanted a level playing field. That's what it is. We wanted everybody to have the same access, the same abilities, more or less. And that's what we've done. Caroline. So were the Anunnaki part of genetically modifying humans? Me, laughing. So many aliens have genetically modified humans. Yeah, we like to think of that because, again, we're referring to CLEA'S, her stories where they were the ones that took down the human DNA from, I think it was 12 strands to 2 strands. We've already spoken about this. Doesn't matter how many strands we have. I mean, we have infinite powers right now. We don't even have to go that far, even in our current bodies. Carolyn. So did the Anunnaki, did they disappear? Was that part of a reset prior to Atlantis? Me. It was part of the rules. It wasn't a reset. That was part of the rules. We decided, okay, now we're starting the game and we're just not going to have all these people here. It's almost like, say, you're in a theater and you're clearing everybody out who's not part of the play. So, okay, you guys, everybody go. We're just going to have these bodies here. Or this is the scene where there's just going to be cats on the stage. Everybody who's not a cat, get out of here. And that's exactly what we did. Basically, everybody who did not use, who was not incarnated in or embodied in an NPC, in a human body, was not allowed here anymore, or an animal body. We're referring to humans, humanoids is not allowed here because we didn't want to know there were different people with different powers. Carolyn. But there are remains of the Anunnaki left very sparsely throughout the world, yes? Me. Well, if you're referring to remains of giants, we were giants, right? Again, this is all us, okay? So there are remains because, again, we've said this before, we leave clues for ourselves. Everything is available for every one of us, down to the last one of us, to know everything that's ever happened here. Not that we read in the fake, not what we read in the fake history books. Actually, everything that's happened, we have proof. We have left proof and clues for everything that's ever happened on this planet. Carolyn. Amazing. Do reptilians come on this planet at birth like the rest of us so that they are also born from human bodies? Me. Yes. See, Carolyn. Or do they have to be born to other reptilians so they can shapeshift? Me. No, so they don't shapeshift here, okay? Carolyn, they do not. Me, they do not. Now, unless they're taking over an NPC. If they came in at birth, they can come in at birth. We talked about the fact that they can even have children with women, with humans. And so they'll come in, normally they can't shapeshift. These people, these kids, these hybrids cannot shapeshift. What the reptilians are actually doing is that, because again, it depends on the awareness level, we're now assuming that all reptilians here are 5D awareness. They are not. When you are 3D, you cannot shapeshift, okay? These are not the rules on this planet. These rules are not applied on this planet. So what are the people referring to when they say, I've seen them shapeshift? These are not 3D humans. These are not humans. These are actually reptilians from a different place. They're projecting, just like we are able to project things. They're projecting bodies around them, or they might be walking. They might be using a body, an NPC, again. But then when they're not, because we already said this, unless you come in at birth, you cannot reserve a body. You cannot be in a body. You don't even know if you can go back into a body. That's why they have to do all these rituals we talk about, because otherwise they're not able to stay in a human body. And so because of this, very often you see them as they are. So it's not that they're literally shape-shifting, it's that they're in and out. And they were laughing. So that's what's happening, because they're aliens. And basically, just like we talked around this before, were we shape-shifting or were we not shape-shifting? But do we look different when we're in the body and when we're not? Yes, we do. And that's what it is. And so there's a little bit of confusion in terms of how we would describe it. This is why people, the ones that have said, oh, I've seen them, the reptilians, this is what they look like. Absolutely, you can see that. And especially if they were just projecting, because they also have technology. If they were just projecting, if they're higher level reptilians, so they were 5D and whatnot, so they're coming in as Pleiadeans would, right? And they're projecting certain forms, they can. But if we're talking about the people that live here, like on the side of the dark, they're not shape-shifting. They're humans. And somebody actually just made a comment under one of my old videos where they said we refer to reptilians, we're just referring to, they're saying they don't exist. We're just referring to our collective reptilian brain, which I thought it was an interesting comment. I have to tell you, I've always kind of heard this information and kind of disregarded it. I never really latched on, even though one of my heroes, who's David Icke, he actually talks about them, but I always thought that can be. And so even when I started getting this, when I asked the 25th and they confirmed, I was actually quite surprised. So I can totally see how some people are saying, no, there's no reptilians. I totally get it. Carolyn, we have seen many celebrities with bruised eyes and are told that a reptilian has taken over. Is this true? Me. So if the celebrities, as many are, if they're NPCs, yes, they're doing the rituals we refer to, where the reptilian can come in and take over. And what they're trying to do, the reason they do all these things is because, again, you cannot really stay in a body. First of all, you would have your own life as an alien. So now you want to live here and you want to take over an NPC all the time, but you cannot take over an NPC all the time. It's just not like an essence who can be in an NPC body for a long time. And therefore, they're trying to figure out all the stuff that they can do so they can stay in these NPCs longer, in these bodies longer. But it doesn't really work that way. In fact, if you've noticed, a lot of celebrities, they look like there's nothing there, right? So it doesn't really work. I mean, the dark always likes to mess with things. They like to think they're doing things. They're solving issues, but these issues are not really issues. It's rules that we decided to have on this planet. And so because of that, they can't really go around the rules we've established, that we've all agreed to. Carolyn, you've told us that the team of the light has been fooled many times. They've always wanted to believe that things will work out, and sometimes they let things go too far and go to the extreme. Many of these things have been left to stand where they should have never been left to stand. Can you give us an example of something that could have been stopped by the light team that was left to stand? Me. They could have stopped, for example, I mean, we're thinking of money here. And while money was fun, they could have stopped, for example, the fact that, it became fractional banking to where they said, okay, it's not money anymore. Now it's fake, basically. And this is really what has enslaved humanity. It wasn't even an issue where people actually had something of value that everybody could get access to, that they could exchange. But it did become an issue when all of a sudden there are some that can just say, hey, we're going to pretend that what I create is real, but if you try to do the same thing I do, then you're a criminal. So that's what we mean. They could have stemmed a lot of the consequences of certain things that were introduced. So let's see, what else? What else could have been stopped? For example, the commercial animal feeding operations. They could have done something where those were illegal, but they didn't because, again, even the rest of us thought, yeah, it's doing the job. You know what that's doing? That is creating more solidity. It's giving solidity to the planet, but it's not right, is it? We really don't want to do that, but because we really don't want that, but because it's so dense here, we're okay with it. And everybody, whether you eat meat or not, everybody's okay with it. Otherwise, they wouldn't exist. So nobody here can say, I'm innocent. And again, we're going to have to deal with this because a lot of us like to think that we are innocent of certain things. Nobody here is innocent. Now, we're all innocent because these were mistakes. We're not evil. We are everything. But at the same time, a lot of us like to think that we are innocent. We say, oh, but at least, I might have done this, but at least I didn't do that. Oh, no, you have. You might have not been the one raising your hand to do that, but you have just as much as the next person. It's all about the intention. What is your intention? So yeah, a lot of the stuff could have been stopped or either completely removed or countered enough to where it didn't get to the extreme. But again, we completely lost track too. And I don't know if all of you guys are familiar with the concept of fractional banking, but fractional banking very simply is basically the system on which our monetary system, our make-believe monetary system is based. And I call it make-believe even from a 3D perspective for the simple reason that money is not real. And basically fractional banking takes the same amount of money that, say, I go into the bank and deposit $1,000, turns it around 9 times, because in the States, at least, they have a rule where a bank can loan out, can keep just 10% in reserves of what they've received and can loan out the difference. So they can lend out my $900 many times. They can keep turning it until they've created, from my $1,000 initial, they've created $10,000. And this is how our banking system works. Basically, they just create money on a computer screen now. In the past, at least, they used to print it. Now it's literally you add numbers on a screen and all of a sudden we have money. It's completely all fake. But this is the system on which basically the IMF and all the banking system around the world has been based. And there are many that speculate, and it wouldn't surprise me, doesn't surprise me. But the real reason we had a lot of wars, like for example, against Iraq, is because people like Gaddafi, was it Gaddafi? No, he was in Libya, Saddam Hussein, sorry, in Iraq. He had basically just announced that he was going to create a new currency based on gold. And it just so happens that, I don't know if you guys have followed this, but Putin, or so-called Putin, whoever's playing Putin these days, has basically in Russia, they refuse to sell any more commodities unless they get paid in rubles, which is now a gold-backed currency. And this is happening in a lot of different countries across the world, especially the ones that have commodities. So this is how we see that even from a 3D perspective, the old system is crumbling. Bottom line is, even if we were to stay here, nothing would be the same ever again, thank God. So this is what's happening. But you can find many videos explaining how fractional banking works. If you haven't watched them, they are truly fascinating, because one of the biggest make-believe ideas we have here is money. There's not been money for a long time, at least before being gold backed, and there was some value to things. Now it's not even, it's all an idea, just an idea. Carolyn. So how could the light team stop something when it's up to the individuals in the collective to accept the idea or not? Me. Yeah. So the light could have actually said, no, this is wrong. We're not going to do that. But we didn't. That's exactly right. We thought, oh, we're all just going to embrace this. That's what we're talking about. Even us on the side of the light, we have supported. We are supporting right now the things happening on this planet, while we're judging them as being very evil. And I actually underlined this because it really hit home. We judge things to be evil while we're supporting them. This is the game of separation and the thing where we don't want to know what's going on. And so we could have removed, so this is back to the response from 25th. And so we could have removed our attention. This is how any reality will collapse. We remove our attention. But we didn't do that. We decided to do it differently. We decided to break the rules that we know are rules of the multiverse when it comes to manifestation. And again, so even us, we supported these systems. So in that sense, we could have removed the energy that manifests these things, but we didn't. We talk a lot about money. Why? Because even us, even Clea, who says that she doesn't, she will be very happy when there is no money. And she really doesn't care about money in the sense that she doesn't need to be a gazillionaire or anything of the kind. But the truth is, whenever she thinks about anything that she could do, she's thinking, oh, do I have the money for that? You see, our intent, our focus is still there. This is how we keep a system going. And the light has done a lot of this. Once you keep focusing on something or you refer to something, you're part of that system. You might not be the one printing the money. You might not be the one stealing the money. You might not be the one who uses money to enslave people, but you're still participating. You're supporting the system just as much as the other side. So again, this was a lot for me to receive. Because I realized it's true. It's absolutely true. For me to say I'm not participating in this and that I don't like money when I'm thinking, oh, I need to save here, or I need to do this for money, or all of us, unfortunately, or I don't want to say all of us, I'm sure there are some that have been able to figure this out, but I haven't. The fact is, at the end of the day, in this reality, money is a thing. And so unfortunately, because of what money has allowed to happen here, it means we've all participated in this. So, all right, I'm going to stop here because I think it was a lot today. I think these were some very intense responses. So, but I do hope you enjoyed this and that, it gives you the ability to think about certain things maybe a little bit differently. And to, by doing that, maybe diminish kind of the separation that we're experiencing here. Because again, this has been the source of all our illusions, is the separation that we are separate. This illusion that we are separate, which again is the reason we come here to play, but it's also been the reason why we have turned, our brothers and sisters into the other. And all of a sudden we find ourselves, in this reality that's so low vibration. At any rate, thank you for watching this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye.